Okay, September 14th, 15th, that was the last time we did this.
So it's been a good 3 months.
Oh, yeah. What has happened since then? I'll be honest, I have not been watching the news or keeping up with anything.
Um, I also have a job, so I'm in a similar boat.
Yeah.
There's the stagflation crisis going on right now,
Oh, yeah.
which is a disaster. Um,
You seen those little stickers people are putting on the
yes,
gas pumps?
yes, I am.
I did this.
Have you seen these, Jake?
I can't say I have.
They're little stickers of Joe Biden.
Pointing right to the gas thing.
Yeah, and a little speech bubble that says, I did that. Really not technically his fault. I mean, gas was so low because there was no demand for gas during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's just the basic rules of supply and demand.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't control that. What is a problem, and you could partially say it's his fault, is the inflation right now. I mean, we're at 6%, 7%, like we're fucking Europe.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
administration
And
is trying to say that, maybe it's a good thing.
Like they're saying 6 or 7%. That's what they're willing to admit. It's probably a lot worse than that.
I think the numbers coming out of the Fed are generally pretty accurate.
Okay.
I mean, it's harder to get more accurate than what. I mean, there are people that do basket manipulation. Where it's like, if I want to prove the inflation is high, I can take the basket is how we determine what inflation is, and it's just the common goods that the average American household will purchase in any given year or month, whatever it is. And so it's like, let's say you get fruits, and apples have a ridiculous inflation rate, but everything else is fine because of something just with the apple market.
Yeah.
You might put apples into that fruit section to be like, oh, look how high inflation is because you're using an outlier, or maybe bananas have a ridiculously low inflation because something to do with the market. And if I'm trying to prove that inflation is low, I put bananas in for that, and I go, oh, look how good inflation is right now by putting the bananas in there. But what the Fed tries to do is find things where there's the least market variance. You're trying to find the most normal thing in the market.
Okay. Very good point, Seth. Very good point. Economics is really a mess, isn't it?
There's a lot going on in the
yeah.
economy. The economy right now is a fucking mess, though. Oh, the supply chain crisis. I forgot about that. Did I tell you how I was affected by the supply chain crisis?
No, what happened?
I had a minor fender bender. It was my fault. I looked away while driving. Not bad. I was going less than 10 miles an hour. Not a ton of damage to either car. My car could not get into the shop for a month because they couldn't get supplies. I have a Hyundai. And then when I got into the shop, it was in there for exactly a month. It was in there from November 1st to December 1st because they just couldn't get supplies. They opened the car up, saw some internal damage, not a ton. Just needed to fix a few things, and they ordered the parts. Took the parts forever to get there.
Dude, you've been seeing some of these backups at the ports around the U.S.? Wild. Absolutely wild. Because all the material's there, the manpower's there. It's just something's not connecting to get that stuff out.
Well, the thing that I've heard is the trucks aren't there because of the laws they passed in California. That's what I've heard is responsible. They passed emission laws and something to do with, all the truckers have to be unionized. And they just can't get enough truckers and trucks in there. There's not enough trucks that fit trucks and truckers that fit both regulations.
Yeah, dude, now's a great time to get into trucking if you want to pick up CDL or something.
Yeah, if you want to, and also if you want to invest in an electric truck, I mean, you'll get paid a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
to go to California now.
Yeah, you'd have to go to California though.
Yeah.
That's the caveat.
Oh yeah, but dude, there's a lot of freedom being a trucker. Yeah.
I would not want to be a trucker in the modern economy. I mean, it's kind of like being in the 1890s, being it's a great time to get into horse carriages.
Yeah,
it's like you're going to be unemployed pretty soon.
Yeah, when's the crossover going to happen? When's it going to be more people in automatic vehicles than people driven ones?
I mean, currently, self-driving cars are stage 1 self-driving. They're pretty stupid cars. Yeah. They can go straight for long periods of time. They can't really do much else. So, everyone thinks Tesla's right on the edge of that. They're nowhere near that. I think it could be within our lifetime. And the scary thing about that is that the plurality of the jobs in this country are truck driving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like the largest sector of the economy. And suddenly all those people will be unemployed.
Yep. I mean, just look at your big box stores like your WalMarts and your Targets. How many cashiers have been replaced just in the last 5 years? You know?
I mean, we're slowly automating ourselves out to pasture.
And it's it's not the doctors and lawyers getting automated out. It's the people who had no other option in the job they had anyways, you know?
Yeah, only the people who are desperate, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, the doctors and lawyers are going to get automated out eventually. If things keep going the way they're going. I mean,
oh, yeah.
It's like you think they can't come for you. They already automate some things that lawyers do. They can have like robots or in AI just go through documents and just find the relevant things, which is like what 90% of a lawyer does is go through documents and look for things relevant to a case.
Oh yeah, man. Once the machines start taking out the paperwork, there's going to be a huge gap in the economy.
Yeah. And then everyone thinks, oh, well, we'll go into creative jobs until the robots start doing those. We already have AI that can write music.
Yeah, I've heard some beautiful pieces from robots.
Yeah.
And robot paintings, art of all kind.
Yeah. And I, what was I? Oh, yeah. You can't all go into creative jobs. I mean, we just can't all do that. I don't think everybody's creative enough to do that. Two, like, the fame and the fortune can only be for like a few privileged people.
Yeah.
A few lucky people. Not everybody can be a creator that people listen to.
Yeah.
I just can't take in that much media, and most of it isn't going to be good enough for me to want to take it in anyways.
True. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. There's a very obvious Pareto distribution with art.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I know it's kind of hypocritical to say, but think of how many people have podcasts now.
Oh no, absolutely. Well, I mean, how many listeners do we have?
Yeah,
I bet there's a Pareto distribution of that as well. I mean, imagine most of the listening goes to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Can famous people stop having podcasts and YouTube channels? Like, you already get your views somewhere else. Let the average Joe have a shot here.
Yeah, they want more money though,
and they'll get that money one way or another. They got to step on my neck to do it.
Yes. They will always step on your neck for more money, Cam. I don't know who you are.
True. Just wait till the tables are turned, dude.
It's coming.
When a small group of Maryland podcasters takes over the world. Not so irrelevant now, am I, asshole?
Yeah. And then we step on everybody else for more money.
Oh, yeah. And that's the cycle continues. Dude, you guys been seeing, I know it's kind of off topic, but you guys been seeing this build up on the Ukrainian border?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing happening now.
Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to let Putin just come in and scoop Crimea in 2013. Maybe that wasn't the best idea, setting the president like that.
Well, we've been letting Russia just do what it wants for a while.
We held back on some things, like Nord Stream 2, their pipeline. We were able to hold back on that.
Yeah, but
until Biden decided not to anymore.
We let them invade Georgia. That was like the first thing where we should have stopped them.
Yeah, the Russians do a lot of stomping around.
See, I do not want to send Americans to die in Ukraine. I don't care that much about Ukraine.
Ukraine's had like, what, 30 years to just join up with NATO already? They haven't done it. Now is not the time to come begging. You had years to get that settled.
Yeah, it's not my problem.
Not that, I mean, NATO's kind of crap too. Look at how many countries are in NATO that we not exactly such good friends with, like the Turkish. But we need them. We need them if we're going to control, was it the Bosphorus Strait?
The Bosphorus Strait, the Black Sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think NATO's out. I mean, what's the point of NATO anymore? To keep out it was originally to balance out the Warsaw Pact.
Yeah.
Russia's not the threat it was. I mean, yeah, they can bully their neighbors. But
and they will.
That's what Russia's done for all of its history, is bully its neighbors.
Of course.
You know? Yeah. But they're not like an international threat anymore.
Man, with the receding ice caps up north, and now that they have Crimea and access to the Black Sea, Russia kind of has what they want. They have their access to warm water ports.
Yeah, that's all they want.
They can move their shipments any way they want to now. The need to just outright invade a country, it's not so much there anymore.
It's also just not something you do in the modern day.
Yeah,
it doesn't occur.
Except seems like that's what they're doing.
They're not even going to outright invade, though. They're going to set up essentially puppet governments.
Yeah, that was the plan. Was to get their people into Crimea and say, hey, we want to annex ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And join the Russian Federation.
Yeah, or they'll do what they did in Georgia, where there's just a bunch of small little countries that nobody but Russia recognizes, and they're de facto Russia.
Yeah.
They do what the Russian government tells them to do.
Yeah, man. I remember, what was it, like 3 or 4 months back, there was a standoff between British ships off the coast of Crimea and Russian ships. And I think the Russian ships even fired a warning shot, but nothing ever came out of that.
Yeah, I remember everyone being like, oh, we're on the edge of... Okay, every time there's like a little conflict that's like, it makes you nervous, but everyone always says we're on the verge of World War III. No, we're not. We're pretty far from World War III.
Yeah, stakes are just too high to be throwing around world wars the way we used to. All these intertied economies and whatnot, it's just a mess.
Yeah.
But the conflict, the rage, the problems people have with each other, that's not going to go away. It's just the different ways we handle it.
Yeah, really we're fighting like cyber wars at this point. That's what our enemies use against us.
Oh yeah, dude. On the cyber warfare side of things, it looks like the apocalypse outside.
Yeah.
There's cyber attacks constantly every day, man.
The CIA gets cyber attacks like thousands of times per day.
Oh yeah, dude. Like the flow of things is immense right now.
Do you think we're just playing defense?
It seems like that.
That's a good question.
It does seem like that. I wonder if we're playing offense and we just don't know. Like, maybe the U.S. is trying to do shit, but, like, they're keeping quiet about it.
I think our infrastructure has just degraded so much that even if we are on the offensive, we're also wide open in so many different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Because was it last year or 2 years ago that, like, the entire city of Baltimore got hacked and their tax system got, like, backed up?
I entirely believe that. And it was probably like, was it by a nation state, or was it just ransom?
I think, it was ransomware. I don't know if it was a nation state or not.
Okay.
A state actor.
Okay.
But
I know that happens all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Cities they just take over the computers, start deleting files.
Dude, think about the computer infrastructure that a city like Baltimore has. It's probably not very good. Probably old in a lot of places, huge gaps in security.
The city's broke, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just our cities too, but like our schools. They don't have good encryption either.
No.
Like there's a lot of money out there that's just waiting to get scooped by some bad dude.
My ma used to work for a very large law firm, and they got a ransomware attack.
Really?
Shut down all the computers for this international law firm, all of them.
For how long?
I think it was like 4 days or something like that, and they ended up just paying them to go away, but it was like millions of dollars.
That just happened with the guy whose house I was working on near my uncle's house. He works for like the Maryland Department of Health, and their website just got hacked with ransomware, and he was home. They told him not to come into work because they could not guarantee safety on the computers, so he was home for like 3 or 4 days also.
Wow.
Yeah. Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane. And the thing with ransomware is once the enemy gets into your system, what's to say they haven't set up 1,000 different backdoors?
Yeah.
You can pay the ransom. What's to say they don't already have access to it again?
And they don't just come back. Yeah, and it would take so long to try and find those backdoors.
Oh yeah.
So long.
With how old a lot of our systems we use. Like, let's just look at our pipelines too. Wasn't there a huge pipeline hack?
Yeah. I remember it was slowly moving up the East Coast,
and they were
no one could get gas. Yeah,
and they for like a week we were talking about the pipeline hack. It turns out the Biden government paid it like a day or two into it. Was that the best idea? I mean, you got to keep the gas flowing, but when something as essential as your oil infrastructure could have backdoors into it, that puts you in a very bad position.
Yeah. Why does our oil even run through computers?
It also reminds me of what happened out in Texas like a year or two ago, where Texas has like its own power grid, and it I don't know if it was the storm or if it got hacked.
Oh.
But it got shut down for weeks.
That was because of incredibly cold weather. The Texas government had been warned that they needed to put in things for if there was like, a blizzard all of a sudden. and all of their gas froze essentially. Like, which is like a thing they have up north. It's a thing you can completely do. And Texas didn't do it because they were like, oh, it's never cold in Texas, and then it happened. They were warned. Yeah, they knew to do that.
That's like telling us here in Maryland, get your volcano bug out bag ready. Sure, it could happen.
Unlikely, yeah.
But the chance of Texas getting hit with a rogue ice storm, that could happen. That's something you might want to prepare for.
Yeah. I mean, I found it weird when people were criticizing Ted Cruz for that. Like, what the fuck is Ted Cruz going to do? He's a senator. Yeah. It's not his job.
Yeah, I mean, he did his job. He requested federal aid.
Yeah.
You can sit there and be cold with people if that helps out.
Yeah,
which he didn't. He ran off to Cancun.
Oh well,
yeah. But if I was wealthy in that situation, I would do that too. I mean, like he's not the governor. He's not a state representative. The fuck, he requested federal aid. What else will he do?
Man. People just want to pick apart their political opponents for anything.
We get kind of ridiculous about that.
Oh yeah.
On both sides, it's like there's things where I'm just like, chill the fuck out.
Honestly. Seriously, dude.
Like I remember when the AOC video came out of her dancing.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Who gives a shit?
I don't know. Yeah, and then the AOC thing I always think of is her crying at the gates of the migrant detention facility, which are still open, by the way.
Yes.
Notice how no one's talking about the continuing crisis on the border, hundreds of thousands of people coming over like every month, and it's just not talked about.
No.
Dude, like, there's so many issues that are in the news for like a week, maybe. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah. I mean, and like all news at this point, okay, not all, a lot of news at this point is just like reaffirming your own beliefs. Like I could, if you told me an event before it happened, I could tell you what CNN and Fox's take are going to be on the event.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you if one of them's not going to report on the event.
Absolutely. Dude. Yeah, that says just as much, what they even choose to talk about or not.
Yeah. No, they just completely won't talk about certain things that just go against their beliefs and the beliefs of their audience, which is a okay, here's a thing that I've been thinking about recently. Maybe this is ageist, but I think that boomers, because they didn't grow up with the internet, don't know how to interact with it. I think that's fair.
I mean,
that's why they become so radical. They don't know what is like a legitimate source and what is complete bullshit.
Oh, dude, they are just getting into Facebook posting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like they can't tell when like maybe you shouldn't be reading this website because maybe this website is fucking crazy.
They're used to turning on the TV at the end of the workday and listening to Walter Cronkite tell them what they think the news should be.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and that you can be like fairly confident, like, okay, I'm getting something within the ballpark of sanity.
Right. I feel like our generation, or maybe even the generation below us, has almost an instinctual ability to tell what's bullshit or what's not. Like I can open a website and be like, this is not real. This is
or it's like I at least have like an instinct to be like, this is the internet. Do I trust this?
Yeah.
Or at least go so far as to say, let me try and find 2 or 3 more sources on this before I make a judgment call on whether this is the truth or not.
And like I can tell when something is just like a thought, like a bubble,
Right.
When it's like, okay, all these people believe similar things and they just keep bouncing them off each other. This is a bubble.
Exactly.
Like, do not get stuck here. But I feel like boomers just don't realize that. They think they get lost in it.
They can't discern propaganda from like basic facts. It's insane.
Yeah, no, it really is.
And I guess that comes from an innate trust in the media system.
Because you used to be able to sort of trust it, yeah. Now you can't.
For kids who grew up in the shadow of 9/11 and the Iraq War, we don't trust shit from the media.
Absolutely
and we
not.
shouldn't. Why would you?
No.
These are the WMD Iraq folks.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's honestly insane to me how many times boomers can be fooled over and over and over. I mean, these are people who think that Chris Cuomo had the same level of gravitas as Walter Cronkite. What? that Don Lemon is the source of truth. That Brian Stelter is bringing the hits.
Yeah. Okay. Also, everybody on TV now, for like the major networks, is a hack.
Oh,
All of them.
100%.
All of them.
all of them.
There's nobody on like any of the major networks, right or left, that I trust.
No, they're skilled propagandists.
Yeah.
And the best you can do is learn to look at the propaganda pipeline on one side and the other and see where the leaks kind of mix with each other. That's about it.
I mean, there's still like, in terms of online print, like media, there's some places that I sort of still trust.
You can find some good independent coverage.
WAPO, it's definitely left leaning, but they're telling you the story.
Yeah.
The Economist, I think, once again, less left leaning, but left leaning. I kind of trust what they're saying. You know, that's a reliable place. New York Times, I trust for the most part. But like Fox and CNN, no. I'm glad that PewDiePie gets more views than CNN.
Oh yeah.
Even then, you're going to like all three of those websites, if not more, just to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's not
I
like you're
verify
getting
with each of them.
Exactly. You're not getting your information from one person or one source of news. You're building like a case study almost on what's going on.
Yeah.
And then sifting out the truthful information.
It's kind of exactly what our like history teachers taught us about researching back in middle school and high school, right? You look at multiple sources and kind of try to find a fusion of what you believe to be true out of those things.
Yeah. No, you got to look at it like critically. You have to be like, is this a real, because I feel like boomers they see like a news article, and because it's a news article, they assume it's true.
Yeah.
It's like it could be from some far right website like Revolver, which if you guys haven't seen Revolver, look at Revolver. It's insane. It'll talk about how here's how Donald Trump is going to become president in 2022.
Honey, did you see that new article on Stormfront?
He's got the real news.
It's wild, dude. It's
Joe Biden is
wild.
secretly replacing white people with Hispanics.
Jesus Christ.
And they'll just be like, that must be true. It's from a news website. It's like, I could make a news website. I could make one right now, and I could go on there. I could be like, Joe Biden is a ghost.
Dude, just get a job at the New York Times and slip in an opinion piece without telling people it's opinion. Suddenly, you got yourself an article people take as legit.
Opinion piece generally sounds like an opinion piece.
To us, it sounds like an opinion piece.
Maybe. Okay, I gotta bring up this because it's tangentially related to boomers not getting the internet. You see what happened with QAnon and JFK Jr.?
A little bit.
That's insane. They all gathered in a field in, what was it, Houston?
Yeah, like outside of Houston somewhere, and
waiting for
JFK Jr. to come back from the dead.
To come back?
Wait, seriously?
100. And they waited out there.
He's not actually dead, though. He's in hiding with Tupac. Tupac's also in hiding with them.
And he was going to come back to announce a presidential run.
No. He was going to be the vice president.
Oh, the vice president.
For Donald Trump's 2024 run.
And they waited out there for several weeks.
Yes. Waiting for him,
convinced that he was going to return.
Like it was the return of Jesus.
That sounds crazier than the gathering of the Juggalos.
That's most definitely is.
Absolutely wild.
Dude, it's... I think, and here's why I don't like conspiracy theories, because the best indicator of if you'll believe the next conspiracy theory you hear is if you already believe in conspiracy theories. And I think that what QAnon did was, whoever the fuck he was, he started small, and he kept making, and then there was a little bigger, and a little bigger, and a little bigger, and a little bigger, until eventually you could convince all of these fucking Trumpers that JFK Jr. was going to come back from the dead with Tupac and run for vice president with Donald Trump. You just start small.
Of the Republican Party.
Yeah, of the opposite party that he ran for.
Yeah.
And also, why is Tupac involved?
That's one of the wildest things.
Because he's a well-known person that has been dead and people think isn't dead.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. Or like all the things about how Donald Trump got the election stolen from him. No, he didn't. He just lost.
Yeah,
he was the most unpopular president in U.S. history. That just shouldn't be shocking.
They can't seem to realize that it wasn't so much people tricked into voting for Joe Biden. They were voting against Trump, regardless of who it was, and that was enough.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, and clearly they didn't like Biden much. He's the second most unpopular president in history.
Oh yeah,
he's tied with Ford.
Remember Biden for like 75% of the primaries losing, like constantly. Yeah. Or remember Kamala Harris, who didn't get a single elector?
Yeah.
Now she's VP.
She's the most unpopular VP in history.
Dude, if Biden, God forbid something happened to Biden, and Kamala becomes president, getting no electors, one of the most hated politicians of all time, becomes president of the United States.
If Kamala runs in 2024 instead of Biden, the Republicans will kill.
Oh,
there's no way she gets the nomination. If
she'd be the highest ranking Democrat. Usually, when your party is in power, you don't run somebody. You run the obvious person, and she'd be the obvious person.
Is she the obvious person?
Her or Buttigieg. And if you run Buttigieg, you've just lost blacks and Latinos. Good job,
Buttigieg,
yeah.
Who is Secretary of Transportation. Is he still not at work right now? Didn't him and Chasten take a paternity leave for the kids?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I mean, they're babies.
We're kind of having a transport crisis right now.
Yeah, maybe not the best time.
Nah, probably not the best time. It's not like you're waiting on a pregnancy. Bad timing.
Yeah.
Buttigieg, bad timing.
Yeah. It seems like he could still work and his husband stay at home.
That's what you'd think. Yeah. That's what you'd think. I don't know. Dude, this government right now, what a mess.
It's fucking terrible.
What a mess.
Yeah. No. It's less chaotic. It's definitely run less efficiently, which is a shocking statement.
Yeah. Yeah, following the last cycle, somehow less efficient. And just baffling decisions.
Like, it's not crazy, it's just inefficient, yeah.
And just baffling decisions, like shutting down the Keystone Pipeline and then approving Nord Stream 2.
Yeah.
What? Why would you do that? That doesn't sound like a good idea.
None of it makes sense. Also, we were energy independent for like the first time in decades.
Dude, I don't think people realize how important that was.
Yeah.
Like, once you reach that point, that's the stepping stone to where you can really start to focus on green tech. Once you have your baseline covered, that's the part where you can really get into the cool stuff.
Yeah.
But we're just regressing back into it.
Yeah, we're just like, now it's like we need to think about gas constantly because we don't have enough non-renewable energies to feed our economy. Yeah, you need that energy. That feeds everything.
Oh yeah.
No, it's absolutely insane. Just yeah.
Dude, apparently up in Alaska, we're talking about electric cars and they need all those like rare earth minerals and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently up in Alaska, they have massive reserves of like cobalt and crazy stuff. I mean like $1 trillion reserves just sitting underground that no one touches because who's doing operations up in Alaska?
Yeah. I mean, also...
And so much of it is also federally protected,
Yeah, a lot of it's federally protected. And also it's just, difficult to do operations like that up there.
Very. I
mean, the same thing is true of Russia, where they have tons and tons of gas that's just under a sheet of ice way up in the north. They can't fucking get to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Till those ice caps start peeling back a little bit.
It'll be sort of good for like a few countries.
Yeah. Dude, wasn't it... maybe it was like 5 or 6 years ago that a Russian submarine went underground and planted the Russian flag on the North Pole.
Yes.
I remember that happening.
Because based off of UN law, it has something to do with the sheet that you're on, or like not called the plate that you're on.
Yeah, that's where you base the lines for your exclusive economic zone, right?
Yeah. And when it's more than 100 miles off your shore.
Something
is
like
the
that.
UN law. Yeah. So Russia's trying to claim that they own all the way up to the North Pole, which if the ice caps are melting, that's going to be important.
Oh, yeah.
Because now Alaska's, because there might actually be like a North Sea passage in the future, now Canada is trying to charge claim that they own all that ocean around there so they can charge import tariffs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, oh, man. Yeah, that is so insane. Speaking of expanding your like territorial borders, you seen what Portugal is trying to do?
No, what's Portugal up to?
I think they're trying to claim the Azores. So they would have access to that island and all the resources in like a 50-mile radius around it,
Okay.
almost doubling the size of Portugal.
Huh.
Crazy.
That would be absolutely insane.
New Zealand also doing it due to some recent underwater scans they were doing of the continental shelf there. They figured out that New Zealand is actually sitting on its own continent, kind of.
Yeah, I think
did
I've seen that.
They
There's
call
like
it Zealandia, I believe.
yeah, it's all like sunken under it essentially.
But based on that continental shelf, that gives New Zealand access to like 20 times the resources they originally had, if they're willing to, make use of that.
Yeah, they
New
got
Zealand
down
is
to it.
extremely environmentally, minded. So
Yeah.
who knows what they'll do with it? But the claim can be made.
Yeah, I mean, we're staking. I mean, who else is in the region that's going to take the claim?
No one really.
You
Well,
going to challenge them for it?
eventually China.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They're just
actually,
going to keep expanding.
New Zealand is in huge debt to China now.
Yikes.
Yeah, I mean they're sort of under the economic boot of China.
Yeah, man. The Pacific sphere is looking a little grim with China on the move.
Have you seen what Australia's doing?
What were they doing?
The COVID camps.
Oh yes. Yes.
You've taken it way too far when you're setting up camps,
Buddy, I've been talking about the camps for months now, and people are like, "Oh, well, they have them set up, but what are they going to do with them?" Turns out they're going to put people in them. It's kind of what you do with a concentration camp.
Yeah.
Dude, you heard about those 3 Aboriginal kids who escaped from one of the bigger camps? The kids were they tested negative at the camp, still being held there, escaped, and there was a nationwide manhunt for them. Why is there a nationwide manhunt for people who don't have COVID escaping a quarantine camp?
If I didn't have COVID, I didn't have the disease, and you sent me to a place full of people who had the disease.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. You send anyone to that camp, they're going to get the
And
COVID,
also, but
unless they deserve to stay in the camp.
But my first instinct would be to leave the camp.
You'd think so.
It's like if you drop me in a COVID ward, I'm leaving the COVID ward.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm not a dumbass.
What happened to Australia over this pandemic, dude? They've revealed themselves to be just as authoritarian as the Chinese.
I mean, they're not totalitarian yet.
Dude,
It's
It's
worrying at this point. It is not.
The trend is going towards that.
Yes.
It's not slowing down.
It's worrying at this point. It's not over the edge at this point, but it's worrying.
There was literally a rule in, I think, New South Wales that you got 1 hour of time outside a day to receive sunlight and exercise. Like a maximum security prison.
That seems
You were
counterproductive
locked into your house.
to treating the virus and staying like away from enclosed spaces.
Yeah, you need exercise and you need sunlight.
Right.
UV to blast you.
I mean,
Which
if
Australia
you do
has
get
a
sick,
lot
they'll
of.
send you to a camp.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know what portion, like how much of the population of the people in those concentration camps are Aboriginal.
I'm willing
That
to bet
would be
pretty
interesting.
high. I'm willing to bet a lot
Yeah.
higher than people are
Yep.
willing to say.
Yeah.
That would be really scary if it was disproportionately Aboriginal.
Dude, there's been videos of Aboriginal leaders who are like, they are picking us off the street and kidnapping us.
I'm just saying,
You remember the last time this happened?
if it were 3 Australian kids, non-Aboriginal kids that had escaped the camps, would they have
a
manhunted them?
manhunt.
Actually, probably.
Really?
You seen how hard they've been going after kids, right? There was
No.
these 3 kids who were partying down by the beach, like 3 or 4 people. And they had like 5 helicopters overhead with searchlights. They all got arrested and were given like $1,500 fines.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
They go hard on everyone, man. But what's going on with the Aboriginals right now is sus.
Yeah, I saw that
Very
somebody
sus.
posted a picture online of them down at some natural reserve thing, and they got sent a fine in the mail because the police hadn't noticed the little timestamp in the bottom that was before the pandemic.
Oh man.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah.
Dude, wasn't it also in Australia where they had like a COVID app where every couple hours or whatever it would ask you to take a picture of yourself showing your location to prove you actually are where you said you were following quarantine laws?
I'm not sure.
I think I heard about that.
Dude, okay, you can take it too far. I kind of wish we'd done what the Swedes did.
Can you take it too far when it comes to safety, Seth? Can
Yes.
we take it too far?
Yes.
Apparently, some people are willing to sacrifice literally everything to the point where, say you do survive, what country do you have to return to where you can be thrown into a concentration camp at any point?
See, I kind of want.
Seth, did I hear you just sneeze a little bit? I'll have to set you up with a bunk at the camp, dude.
See, I kind of want to. I want to go to Australia. I know I can't go there, but I want to go to Australia, get COVID because I'll probably be fine, and like just like wear like a really tiny GoPro in my glasses, and just kind of observe the camp, see what it's like. Come
Dude, you
back,
know,
report on it.
One of
You're
the
not
weirdest
coming back.
Man, I'll make a daring escape. I'll escape to Papua New Guinea.
Dude,
I'll
one
have
of-
like $1,000, take a flight to America.
Someone who actually did that. One of the I guess least likely informants was this like model, this Australian model who was locked up in one of the camps. She's like,
Was she the one that was arguing with the guards?
I think so.
I
think so.
I saw someone arguing with the guards. Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, it's kind of as bad as people say. And you're like, this is an Instagram influencer who you would expect to be treated somehow better than other people, you know. But it's like maybe these camps are a little more serious than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
How long till that comes to the U.S.?
It's not coming to the U.S. That will
You-
not happen.
You don't think New York would go ahead and do that?
Cam.
They sent sick people back to nursing homes.
Yeah, Cam, that was
Those are-
stupid. That wasn't authoritarian.
Those are old people though on
It
the
was stupid and
brink of
authoritarian.
death's door.
Cam, our problem with the quarantine is that we didn't choose a direction. We decided we never seriously quarantined. We never seriously
You
quarantined.
can't. You can't do that in the U.S.
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying. We'll never get to that point.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Like the half-assed measure of we're gonna do some restrictions, but also not others.
It's like you have to pick. You have to either do like a full quarantine like Italy did, where it's like you got to stay in your house for the next month, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, no leaving, and then let everybody out. Or you got to do what the Swedes did, which is like herd
Nothing.
immunity. Yeah, don't do anything. We're not changing anything. America was sort of like we're gonna do a quarantine, but you don't want to be too. Don't want to be too strict about it. It's like, well, then what you get is like a constant, never-ending COVID.
Dude, the states that went ahead and kind of went with a pseudo Sweden route, like Florida and some of the southern states, they're doing excellent.
They're
right
fine
now.
now. Yeah.
California, 3 times the normal rate of COVID.
Well, because no one's had
Whoops.
exposure to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. And all the variants keep coming out, but I feel like in America at least, are you guys at the point where you don't care anymore?
I was at the point
Absolutely.
where I didn't care a long time ago.
Okay, it was a couple months ago that I was like, I'm sorry, I like the Delta variant. I was sort of like, okay, we got to keep an eye on that, you know.
Yeah.
Now that's like we're at the how far down the fucking Greek alphabet are we?
As soon as they skipped the she variant, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. If we're not even going to play science anymore, I don't care. Yeah,
Bring back the China virus again.
the China
the Wu flu, right?
the Kong flu.
The President
Kung
Xi.
flu.
The Xi variant. The President Xi variant.
Wasn't there that picture that Trump had of a briefing about COVID? And he just crossed it out and wrote Chinese virus. Do say what you will about the guy. That's one of the funniest presidents we've ever had. That's a funny dude.
It's too bad he wasn't aware that he was as funny as he was.
The lack of self-awareness was a big issue.
The lack
But
of
also
the lack of self-awareness also really played into the comedy.
Right, exactly.
They fed into each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that
He
guy
was a
had
funny
so
guy.
many. Remember when he was getting onto the airplane with toilet paper on his shoe, bro?
Oh, no, I don't
Where you have it looks like something out of a fucking comic. He gets out of the limousine and walks up the stairs to Air Force One with a long strand of toilet paper stuck to the bottom of his shoe, and it stays there the entire time he's walking up there. It was
Perfect.
So good.
Do you remember "Look at My African American"?
Oh yeah.
He's
Do you
got-
remember Mitt Romney and his binders full of women?
What? No.
You don't remember that quote?
What?
He was talking about something about his supporters. He's like, "Yeah, I got a binder full of women that support me. Literally, binder full of women."
Mitt Romney's binder full of women.
Dude, the Republican candidates prior to Trump, absolute losers. Oh my god! And it was honestly politics on the whole was just a loser fest.
Right, like now?
Up until 2016. That was the most interesting election we had in a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
you had Bernie, you had Hillary laughing satanically everywhere she went,
changing her accent affectation to fit into whatever.
Carrying hot sauce.
I was just about to say that, telling the Breakfast Club that I carry the hot sauce with me everywhere.
What's something you do? Like, what's something you don't go anywhere without? And she's like, hot sauce.
I wonder if that had anything to do with the demographic she was speaking to.
Right.
Hillary Clinton from New York. I'm sure big fan of hot sauce.
The old ass white lady.
Yeah.
Goes everywhere. Like, she might like hot food. She doesn't travel around with it.
I don't know anyone who travels around with hot sauce.
Yeah.
like, period. That's a weird one.
Yeah. That's like just. They're going to have Franks anywhere you fucking go.
She should have just said adrenochrome. That's something she keeps in her purse. Dude, what is the next election going to be? What's it going to be like?
I hear there's a bunch of people that think that it's going to be Trump again. I don't think it's going to be Trump again.
I think it's
I think he's going to run. I think that he's become a bit of a laughingstock.
I've heard talk that people want DeSantis to run. Personally, I'm just keep being governor of Florida, man. You're doing a pretty good job there.
Yeah, and
no reason to mix things up.
DeSantis might be controversial, though.
I guess. Yeah, I guess
he's going to be popular in the Northeast.
He hasn't done many things controversial. He's just talked about controversial.
Well, but also he's going to be controversial because actually, you know who I want? I really want him. Larry Hogan.
Larry Hogan's
got my vote in a heartbeat.
That'd be interesting. Didn't we have Martin O'Malley run last time?
That went well. I think he maxed out at about 0.5%.
Better than Kamala.
Yeah. Fuck Kamala Harris.
I don't think Larry Hogan has the name recognition to.
I think that he can run on how well he handled the pandemic. Because you got to admit, Maryland's. We had one lockdown. It was he walked the line. He was being reasonable with it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It was a reasonable
and it's like, it was enough that it was like, walk one way down the grocery store. Cool. Wear your mask when you're inside buildings. And then it started to get lifted and he said, okay, you don't have to wear the mask anymore. Some counties can decide that you have to keep wearing it if they want.
Yeah.
He allowed outdoor activities because all the research showed that you can do, like, sunlight pretty much instantly kills COVID. If you're not in an enclosed space, you're at a very low risk of it.
Yeah,
he was fairly reasonable about it, but he was still like, stay inside, be responsible. I think he handled it all right.
Dude, I remember maybe like 5-6 months into the initial outbreak where the CDC had to come out and admit that like 60% of all infections were occurring at home because people were locked in together and someone still had to go get food.
Yeah. No. That completely makes you gotta eat.
And that's
you
that's
can't,
the thing.
and all these people can't afford like DoorDash all the time. That shit's expensive.
Dude, that's why I had this idea where I think what would have been best for the government to do is to create a program where essentially you can sign up and in exchange for being tested every week or 2 weeks and staying at your home, in exchange, the government will deliver food and medicine to you. That way people would feel like they were contributing, but they didn't feel like they were being forced to contribute. They had an option.
So the government just basically pays for the delivery then.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that seems reasonable because you can have them pay for the food and the medicine. That at that point you're spending way too much money.
And people would feel like they're voluntarily doing something for the community rather than the government's being authoritarian and I'm not allowed to live my life anymore.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Granted, during the lockdown, you could have still lived your life.
Yeah.
I did lose my job, but
yeah,
everyone kind of lost their job if you weren't a professional at that point.
Oh yeah.
It's like now I got a job, but at that time it was just like we don't need bouncers anymore. You can leave.
Yeah. Or they just weren't making enough money. Like for me, I was delivering pizza at the time, and people stopped ordering delivery pizza because they didn't trust it, and I stopped making money to be able to afford my apartment.
And I bet the tips slow down too.
That's exactly
without
what.
That
like
person-to-person contact.
Yeah, I made at least half, if not more than half, of my money through tips, and when 90% of my tip revenue suddenly vanished, I wasn't able to afford rent anymore, and I had to move back home with my mom.
Yeah, man. Things were rough, dude.
Yeah. No, it was just a sudden halt, man. And then we were all in our senior year. Well, I guess you weren't, but you and I were in our senior years, and that sort of fucking ruined it.
Dude, I had the perfect setup. I had the townhouse on the greens, Party City. I was planning to spend the last couple weeks of school just faded, not a care in the world. But then, March came around. They're like, "All right, everyone, get the fuck out. No more people living on campus."
They kicked you off of campus?
Oh, they kicked me off campus. Oh yeah.
Oh shit. That did not happen to me.
One
Actually,
day,
I guess they did do that. Yeah, I just didn't live on campus. I lived just off campus.
me and Ted got like a half week's notice. We're like, "Okay, you got to clear out everything now." Okay, bye bye.
You see, all the people got kicked off of campus and they closed down the school. It was all online, and I was living with 3 guys who I didn't really know particularly well. Like I was living with randos, and they all went home. But I had some friends who were on the other side of campus, so I stayed alone in an apartment by myself, and I never saw anybody until a point where I got so depressed about it that I moved back home with my parents.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like when it comes to COVID, there's so many other issues that weren't addressed. Like the amounts of suicide from COVID.
They leaped. I think it was 5 times more than usual.
Dude, the UK's first lockdown, 5 times more kids died of suicide than of COVID.
I entirely believe that.
When Donald Trump, and I mean, hate the guy if you want, when he said that the cure can't be worse than the disease, he wasn't wrong. There's a lot that wasn't taken into account. They only thought in terms of how do we stop transmission of a virus, not how do we keep society going while we do that,
Yeah.
And there was big ramifications for that.
Do you remember early on, and this is still cringe as fuck, when all those celebrities sung Imagine?
Dude.
Bro, why'd you have to bring that up? I've been trying so hard to talk about that.
The
God
video
damn it.
of all videos.
I was right there. I almost forgot about that shit.
Oh,
Dude.
cool. I've lost my job and I'm all alone, but at least Gal Gadot is singing a John Lennon song.
Yeah,
poorly.
Mossad assassin Gal Gadot will sing to me about the world. Dude,
How
at least
insightful.
at least the American people got their revenge. The entertainment industry is doing fucking awful right now.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
am so happy. It puts a smile on my face to watch Marvel movies crash.
Yeah.
Honestly, dude, they needed to die eventually. Fuck. Dude, it was annoying.
It was getting terrible.
Oh
yeah.
The formula got played out. And now they're making movies that no one cares about.
What did they make? I don't even know anymore.
Okay, you want to know what came out this year?
What?
We had Black Widow. Anyone see that?
No.
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 Okay.
Did the Chinese-
We had Shang-Chi.
Yep.
Anyone see that?
Nope.
Who the fuck is Chong-Chi?
Exactly.
He was like a character who was kind of like a superhero version of Bruce Lee. He was pretty big in I think the comic was big in the 70s.
Yeah, he's entirely...
Basically, Marvel was like,
Unknown now.
oh shit, we don't have an Asian superhero right now. Go back through the comic books and find
one. Find one that was at one point popular.
You know what's hilarious? China rejected that movie outright. They're
Really?
like, we don't like being pandered to. We also don't like black people, so we won't put those on the movie either. But
Yeah, they do not like black people over there.
dude, you seen some of the edits for their movies they did? Like you know how they have the iconic Star Wars poster that has everyone on it.
I have
John
seen that.
Boyega just shrunk down to nothing, or the Black Panther one, where in China they, in the rest of the world it was Chadwick Boseman's face. In China, it's just the Black Panther mask. No one needs to know who's underneath that thing.
Oh,
Dude,
geez.
one of my favorite vines of all time is the dude in the Spider-Man suit who walks up to the old Asian couple, and they're like, "Oh, Spider-Man," and then he takes it off and it's a black dude, and they're like, "Oh!" I love
not Miles
that
Morales.
vine. And it cuts halfway through as the woman's turning her face to see it. It's the perfect pause.
Cam, you've been to China.
Oh yeah.
Was it racist?
The most racist place I have ever been. In my travels in the South or in other countries, nothing even came close.
Did you feel like people disliked you for being black?
Maybe not disliked you,
But you were treated differently.
absolutely.
Okay.
Right off the bat. And the things they would say, not knowing you could actually understand them. Yeah, the people are pretty racist over there. Dude, it got, going back to the COVID crisis thing, it got so bad in China that they were rejecting Africans from even being allowed into hospitals. That actually happened.
What the fuck?
Refused service, dying on the street.
What the actual fuck, dude?
They blamed COVID on Africans. It's like, you guys made the
Yeah,
damn
like
thing.
it's
What are you talking about?
What?
It's the China virus. What are you talking
It
about?
comes from a wet market in your country.
Wet market
Yeah.
or the COVID research lab
Or, you know,
a block and a half down the
The
street.
one level 5 bio lab in the area. Either one.
That was like literally like
That's a
a block and a half away from the wet market.
That's
Ah,
a potential, but it would have been accidental if that had happened. Because why would you do it to your own people?
to eliminate your old people,
Which there are a lot of.
which the Chinese government is pretty interested in doing.
Yeah, but then they spent so much money trying to prevent the spread of the virus.
All they had to do was spend the money to weld people into their buildings once. And they kind of figured it out. You remember that, like, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 months into the first wave or whatever, where they were showing videos of people having like giant pool parties in Wuhan. Did you see that?
What?
Dude,
Vaguely.
I mean packed, giant, like Olympic-sized swimming pool, just packed with people all in floaties getting twisted. It was such a mockery of the American party lifestyle. It was like, they're like, oh, not only did we shut you down and take away your jobs, now we're gonna live like you used to, free. I was like, whoa, that's a bold move right there.
While
Okay,
we throw
wow.
the Uyghurs into concentration camps.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Why are we pandering to a country that has concentration camps?
I don't.
Well,
If I have a choice, I don't buy a Chinese product. Nor do I support companies that work with China. You know, like Nike or well, I won't say Apple. 'Cause I still have my iPhone 6 from high school.
Well, you're not really supporting them anymore, are you?
No, I haven't bought anything new from Apple in a very long time.
Yeah, I haven't bought. I have my iPhone is for my sophomore year, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't given them money in quite a while. It's been
Dude.
3-4 years.
What about John Cena? Did you see
oh
his,
my
you saw his
god,
apology
that
video?
that was
John
that was
Cena?
almost scary.
John Cena.
Yeah.
John Cena. Yeah, that was
Dude, this
surreal as shit.
This visually all-American icon speaking almost fluent Chinese, apologizing for even
Begging and
Mentioning
apologizing.
the name
Yeah.
Taiwan. All he said was just came back from vacation. Taiwan is a beautiful country.
yeah, man.
Not a country.
Yeah, and now he has to apologize to the Chinese all the time.
And notice in the apology, he doesn't bring up the name Taiwan. He doesn't bring up countries. He's like, "I'm sorry for the bad thing I did." And
I'm so sorry.
the expectation is everyone will know the social faux pas that I've made.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's so
yeah.
scary.
Yeah, I don't think people should have to pander to the Chinese.
Dude,
that
just
much.
wait till Clint Eastwood starts speaking fluent Mandarin. That'll be
Oh
game over.
my god.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
have you
too old
seen
to start
Gran
laughing.
Torino? That's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh
Those
my
were
God.
The man wrote that movie, and he wrote it so that he says more racial slurs than have ever been said in that period of time.
Oh yeah.
If he had just come on and just said racial slurs, I still don't think he would have said
Dude,
as
that
many
movie-
racial slurs.
The movie puts Django Unchained to shame in terms of racial slurs just thrown out there, just blatantly in your
Yeah, I mean,
face.
the Chinese could hold a gun to that man's head, and he's not going to apologize to their government.
He'd call him a racial slur as they pulled the trigger.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And he kind of be
Fucking
like,
kill me.
nice.
Dude, didn't he made a custom song for that movie where he's
Really?
singing about his Gran Torino.
Oh,
You ever heard it?
I don't think I have.
Weird.
Is it really
Real
weird?
I mean, he was already up there in age by the time they filmed Gran Torino. So
Yeah, he's pretty old. Yeah.
yeah, check out that song. That's a weird one.
And he's pretending to be a Korean War vet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah.
It was a good movie.
Could you even make a movie like that these days?
Well, Gran Torino's not that old.
Not that old, but culture has changed big in just the last 10 years
Yeah.
in terms of what's acceptable.
I
and
feel like at
whatnot.
the time it was even controversial. It's just that you really couldn't do shit to Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, it was Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. It's like if you're Clint fucking Eastwood, you can kind of do what you want.
Oh yeah, you built up the cloud for that. You
Yeah.
can just make whatever you want.
And like no one's expecting Clint Eastwood to not be racist.
It's kind of how you feel the movie, I guess.
Yeah. You know, we all know.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, we still see Clint Eastwood films every once in a while. What was the last Mel Gibson film? Hacksaw Ridge.
I think we all didn't expect him to be an anti-Semite.
Yeah, that
He's
came
coming out with a
hot.
new movie though, right? I heard that he was
Maybe.
coming out with a new. I can't remember what it was, but I remember being like, so he's back in it.
Yeah, I haven't heard the name Mel Gibson in a very long time.
Wait, so did you see The Passion of Christ?
I did.
I have not seen it. I've heard that it's very anti-Semitic.
Kind of. It's. I mean, it's not a very nice portrayal of anyone, from the Romans to the Jews and everybody.
Okay.
It's a brutal film. It's harsh, hard to watch.
I mean,
But I think what people are picking up most of that was that was around the same time he got into the trouble with that cop, right? And that kind of got pegged into it.
what happened with the cop?
He started throwing out a whole bunch of anti-Semitic lines that he probably shouldn't have been saying.
Okay.
So I think that kind of got pegged to the movie. But it's an epic film. I mean, it's there was a lot of production value into that.
I mean, the play, The Passion of the Christ, was supposed to be just horribly bloody and violent. So I guess
I think I've seen the play, but
you've seen the play?
Really?
yeah,
I didn't even know it was a play.
yeah. I think it was like a youth group activity back when I was still going to church with my family.
Yeah, no, the Spanish really like to make plays like that.
Really?
Yeah, religious plays, and so that like The Passion of the Christ was one of the biggest ones. Which is weird that they anglicized it to The Passion of Christ.
Yeah.
He is the Christ, but whatever.
Dude, what about The Last Temptation of Christ? Did you ever see that one?
I did not see that one.
I haven't seen it either.
I don't watch a lot of religious films.
Yeah.
I guess I watched.
I haven't seen a ton.
What's the musical one? Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. I heard that one was okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was just the gospel, but as a musical.
I watched a lot of animated religious films as a kid, I guess.
Does Evangelion count?
Kind of, yeah. You could read it from a
What about The Life of
perspective.
Brian?
Yeah.
Is that a religious film?
I mean, kind of. Or at least a religious criticism.
Well, yeah.
But it's not even a criticism of Christianity specifically. It's any kind of group mentality. It's about what happens when people stop seeing the world for what it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Monty Python was very good at satire.
Oh, yeah.
They were incredibly good at satire.
Incredibly good, dude.
Yeah. We need more comedy like Monty Python that's just silly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you just... Can we stop with all of the political commentary and stuff and just make something funny again?
Yeah.
Why is that so hard, man?
It's really hard to find something that's just genuinely wholesome or funny or enjoyable nowadays.
Yeah.
Like,
I find a big problem with a lot of American comedy nowadays is that it's situational comedy, which is like a little bit like you need like a mix of like visual comedy, comedy from the story, comedy from situations.
that's
This
is slightly off topic, but I mean, in terms of like watching like comedy or like things that make me laugh, like I found it lately important for me to watch something that is wholesome or comedic before going to bed to like put me in a, like just so I'm not depressed as shit going to bed. And lately I've been watching the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, and when they first released that show, they drastically changed like the classic Pokemon art style. Mm-hmm. A lot of people didn't like it. I think it's great. Like they totally have gone off. Do you remember at the end of the Naruto series when they just stopped giving any shits and they started making ridiculous facial expressions? It's like that for an entire show.
Love that
it's so funny. It's so funny. Like their reaction faces are just like those like ridiculous like meme reaction faces. I'll be sitting in bed just laughing my ass off. Like,
you remember the in between frames for pain?
Yes, yes. Your pain is not as great as mine. Oh my! Like 3 frames for.
It's so good, dude. It's so good. Yeah, man. That's some good wholesome stuff.
Yeah.
Seth, what's a wholesome show you're watching right now? What's some wholesome content you like to consume?
Some wholesome content. I mean, I like Taskmaster.
Taskmaster. What's that?
British. So the British love game shows with where they have comedians on.
Okay.
And so it's this game show where there's a guy who's the taskmaster, who's a comedian, and his servant who's also a comedian, and they set up these weird tasks for other comedians to do for points.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just like a weird game show where like the point system is somewhat arbitrary.
Is it like international comedians or mostly British?
Mostly British comedians.
Okay.
Yeah, there's occasionally like it'll be a big name on the show, but it's not frequent. And that's a show that I like. That's sort of wholesome.
How long until Hollywood steals that idea?
How long till I think what is it? ITV will sell it to Hollywood.
Oh God!
But also we'll take it and we'll Americanize it because it'll just be average Joes or it'll be celebrities. It won't be like comedians.
And just the worst celebrities.
Yes,
just
the
worst.
only ones willing to degrade themselves.
Yeah, it's like I don't like our game shows over here. How it's either just like average people who are way too hype. Because like I don't give a shit about them. This isn't interesting. Or it's celebrities where it's also I don't give a shit about them. Like I like that it's comedians because they'll do funny shit.
Go back to Fear Factor. Just put people in awful
my
situations. That was the best game shows.
I was watching some old episodes of that a while back, and I could not believe some of the shit they got people to do.
Dude, getting into like a coffin full of mealworms or whatever.
That's like mild.
No.
That's like some of the mildest
that's
shit.
mild.
Yeah.
So I'm.
They had people.
I
They
know
had like
about the
literally
show.
eating like animal colons and shit. Like just like
they-
absolutely disgusting, like beyond like even comprehension shit you
I
could think of.
What got the show canceled initially was that they had one of the challenges was they had to drink like a gallon of donkey semen or something.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember that.
They
Yeah.
got cut for that,
Yeah.
and then eventually brought back. But it's like,
Is that even a legal thing to ask somebody to do?
You're not making them.
yeah, I mean,
They're saying, look, there's a gallon of donkey semen right there. Should it be emptied? There's like
gallon of donkey cum, $50,000. I'm not
Exactly.
going to say what happens if you drink one and take the other. I'm just saying,
Yeah, read between the lines. Right.
Yeah, that was Joe Rogan back in the day. too.
Yeah, that's what
That was
really
Joe
got
Rogan.
him
At that
popular.
point,
See,
he
none
was
of that
known-
sounds like fear to me.
Try being there.
No, it sounds
Coffin-
gross. I don't fear the coffin one. I would fear
coffin full of tarantulas or something.
that would be fear. But
No
like
thanks.
drinking donkey cum or eating a colon, that's not scary.
It's just gross.
That's just gross. I just don't want to do that because it's like it seems unsanitary.
oh yeah,
Not because I'm afraid of it.
true.
Like what's something that was on that show that was actually like fear?
They did a lot of stuff up high.
Yeah,
Things like being
high
afraid of
stuff.
heights.
Okay. Oh, see that might kind of get.
They also did
Small
like
enclosed
claustrophobic,
space, yeah.
claustrophobic
Okay.
things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like staying in like a box for this amount of time. It was like the fucking SEER program, basically.
kind of. Yeah, trying to break the will of your contestants.
Exactly.
I mean, they isn't the SEER program kind of like secret? They don't want you to know what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked up what happens in there. I mean, there's not a lot that's
One of-
said about it, but
One of the things I've heard, which this could be bullshit, but they make you like sit in a box
and
listen
play
to the sound of a
sound of-
baby crying.
confirmed. My dad went through the SEER program and he confirmed that for me. He
That's-
said that was one of the most miserable experiences of his life.
Yeah, that's got to be horrifying.
like
That's
4 or
gotta be
5
like-
hours in a box listening, and then they would stop it for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and you think fucking finally the test is over, and then they start playing it again, and you pretty much go insane. It's like,
Yeah,
I thought this was over, and it's no, you still got another 2-3 hours in that box listening to screaming children. How did they get screaming children recordings?
for that long.
Yeah, and also, are they setting you up for a situation where you're going to come across screaming kids and need to?
I think it's just like a high stress situation.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a natural biological response that when you hear a child screaming, it stresses you. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's biologically advantageous for that to be inside.
I've heard that the CIA uses the SEER program as inspiration for their torture programs.
Yeah, man.
They figure out what breaks people and what doesn't through the SEER program, training their own recruits, and then they use that stuff to torture prisoners of war and shit.
Yeah, they're advanced interrogation techniques.
Yep.
Okay, would you guys, if you were offered to do the class for free, would you do it?
Yes.
I'd try.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
I would do my
guarantee I can
best,
Finish
yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot. I think I would probably fail.
Well,
There's
you just haven't been put under that stress. We don't know what our
Yeah.
breaking point
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah, we don't know. I'd be kind of curious to find out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder what kind of stuff they do. I would like to try being waterboarded.
I know.
I'd give it a shot.
I tried it. It's horrible.
I bet.
I mean, like
bet.
the you will not believe how quickly you feel like you are drowning.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like it's faster than like if you actually just hold your breath. Like it's ridiculous.
Damn.
I don't know how. It's it's like as soon as the water hits your face, you feel like you are now drowning. And you try to take that breath in, you do not feel like you have air.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, it's
because you
up.
don't. You have water pouring into your face.
But waterboarding, you can still breathe.
True. Oh, Jake,
you won't die.
Wasn't that another aspect of the SEAL training? Is that you have to be able to hold your breath for like a minute and a half?
Something like that. For the SEAL training. I think they do forced drowning in the pool. Like you hold your breath until you can't breathe anymore, and they have divers in. It's not entirely forced, but it's like borderline forced drowning, pretty much.
Yeah,
they have to have like basically a training partner next to you to go down and pull you up if you don't come back up.
Do they hold you down in any way?
Yeah. They put weights on you, yeah.
Okay, because that would be the worst part in my opinion if they didn't weigh you down, trying to keep yourself down.
Yeah,
because at a certain point, like
level.
Panic is just going to set in, and I'm going to start swimming up.
Yeah,
like you can't help that.
Yeah, dude. Brutal training.
Yeah, people that are missing the part of their brain that senses fear will still be afraid of like not having oxygen. Like it's such a primal fear. Like it's like the center of your lizard brain, essentially.
Yeah.
Not having oxygen, that even people that are missing the part of their brain that makes them feel fear will fear not having oxygen.
Interesting.
Yeah. It just sets off a response when the oxygen levels get too low in your blood. So
there's like a level of conscious learned fears versus innate deeper down fears?
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like there's still people that can turn that shit off because I've seen like some MMA guys sitting there getting choked the fuck out, and they will not tap. They just let themselves get choked the fuck out until they're unconscious, and they take like 5-6 minutes to regain consciousness.
I feel like you're still afraid. You're just overcoming that.
No, yeah, Seth. Those guys are just aroused.
Yeah, they're turned
on.
There are people like that. Yeah, that's the whole thing,
dude. I came up with a fun new term. It's called cryptomasochism. It's where you get off on losing money in the crypto market.
Is this real?
It has
should
to be.
Yeah.
You can't be in the crypto game if you ain't getting a little stiffy from watching your money disappear.
Yeah. Like all these dumbasses that are buying NFTs and then posting them online, and then they get mad when people screenshot it.
What did you think was going to happen?
What did you think I was going to do?
Geniuses. Absolute geniuses.
But no, you have the original ones and zeros, so...
Yeah, you can sell those to somebody else for however much another dumbass is willing to pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
It's no intrinsic value.
Dude, speaking of NFTs, did you hear about that game Earth 2?
No, I have not.
It was supposed to be like a 1-to-1 recreation of the Earth, except all the land masses are cut into parcels, basically, 10 meter by 10 meter parcels. And the idea was people would try to buy up land that's valuable in the real world and claim it in Earth 2, and that would somehow raise value for it. It was a huge, huge scam, basically. Alleged scam. Yeah, don't want to get in trouble with our lawyers. Alleged scam.
Our lawyers?
Yes, our lawyers.
A lot of people don't realize that we have multiple lawyers on the payroll.
A legal team. Yeah.
People don't know. We're recording from the penthouse of an office in New York.
Yes.
We have 750 employees.
Hence why
none of them that listen to the podcast, though.
And that is the reason why the quality is so high.
Every single word is scripted, dude.
Yeah. No, I mean, we actually have a team of writers to make it seem
unscripted.
Like unscripted. I mean,
they're super talented.
That stutter Stutter was on there.
Incredible.
In fact, only one of us actually thought to do the podcast. I'm not telling you which one. The other two are paid actors, though.
Oh, not even actors. They're straight up AI. We've gotten so far into this podcast, we've been able to fund it through AI. It's not even people anymore.
And thus far we haven't made enough to cover all the money we spent. But you have to spend money to lose money.
We haven't made enough off this podcast to cover the gas for me to get here today.
We haven't made enough off this podcast to cover the soundboard.
Yeah. But hey, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And folks, I think we've had a fun one.
Yeah. It's been good.
Definitely.
Okay.
Until the next.